Hello guys, welcome again to this new live streaming Wednesday at 6, almost 6. We need just 1 minute more. But yeah, so welcome to everyone. I hope you had a really good day and everything. And today we are in another video streaming for those that they are preparing for the OSCP. And in this case, we are going to check a hack the box machine called Sauna. And actually, this machine it's pretty good. It's a easy machine, and it has some kind of OSINT techniques where we are gonna need to gather some users, check with the Active Directory, and so on. Also, we are gonna use familiar tools like BloodHound to recognize the Active Directory, check the path that we will need to get access to as domain administrator, and so on. So let's start in sharing the screen. I will show you the machine. Actually, it's this machine. Like I said, Sauna. I think I did this machine like five years ago. Before I got my OSCP, I was already into Hack the Box. So most of the machines, I have done them like some time ago. And yeah, I guess it's a really good one. It has pretty basic techniques and techniques that we should know and be able to understand and dominate, because the OSCP, the ADS scenario, is quite not that difficult, but I would say it's more like doing the proper recognize, like the gathering information and put the dots together, more than a complex technique or something like that, right? So I saved some time, not like other streams. I'm actually already connected to the VPN, and of course, if you have any issue with the VPN or how to get connected to all these things, just let me know. I will try to drive you and help you through the process. So yeah, we have already the machine running. This is our IP and so on. So let's say that we don't know nothing about this machine, right? We don't know that this Active Directory focused, nothing. We know that this is a Windows machine and it's easy. So the first thing that I like to do, as you know, as always, we need to enumerate all the open ports. Don't, let's say, make the mistake of checking just the known ports, check for all open ports, right? That could be, or it will take some time. But for example, another technique that you can do is check for known ports open, but in the background run a full TCP open ports. Always check for all the ports, because sometimes there are some higher open ports that, of course, it will be the entry point, and yeah, so that would be my first advice for performing the nmap scan. And yeah, by the way, welcome and hello to everyone that is actually here. Thank you for. Oh, I think I messed up my. Okay. Why it doesn't work? Do I have something? Yeah. Now, yeah. So we have the common domain controller open ports. Let's leave it running. Another thing that should be mandatory as well is check for UDP ports, those that they are open. We can do the same with the following command. And remember that it's pretty important to enumerate all the open ports, because that could be the difference on getting the foothold on the machine and not even get it any information from that machine. So we are gonna run both scans, and we can see that here is the port 80 open. So we are gonna leave these two scans running on the background, and we are going to start opening Burp Suite. Always open Burp Suite. I would say it's a good practice that you open Burp Suite and then, or you use Firefox and connect it to Burp Suite, or you can use the integrated Chromium browser from Burp Suite and check the website, check inputs that you can do on the website or the application that you are testing and everything, and register all the application behavior on Burp Suite. Then once you have done all the checks manually on the website, you can go through the request and try to identify what would be the your attack point, I would say. I think it's a pretty good technique or behavior, or yeah, whatever you want to call it. So we are going to open the website. Yeah, let's copy the IP. So we have our UDP ports report already here. We don't have nothing really special, maybe the NTP, but there is a common open ports 5388 for domain controllers. Then now we can go to the web server to check which kind of application is running, what's around there. Okay, this is still running. Let's move the windows to here. Then we don't have any, the chat or my webcam. Okay, we have a title here, egotistical bank. It will take some time. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe it's because we are doing the scanning, and also we are running scripts for those open ports that we found with this nmap scan. And yeah, probably it's running those scripts and making slow the website. So okay, we have a pretty basic website, I would say. Here we are gonna try with Firefox because I have my plugins here. Which plugins, if you wonder which ones are, is Wapalizer. It's a good plugin basically to recognize which technologies are being used on the website or application. Also, there is another plugin that I really like to use when I'm analyzing malicious website and so on. It's this user agent changer that basically allows me to use another user agent and let's say changing my browser. And then, because sometimes the phishing emails contains links that they have phishing for Microsoft, and whoever is behind is making a filter that this is if it's coming from a Linux machine or Firefox browser, then they know that there's someone from a SOC working on that link, or so on. Or yeah, so it's better if you simulate the browser that they are targeting, and then you will be able to visit the actual phishing website, and so on and so forth. I have another one. It's modify header value that basically helps us to inject new headers if you didn't check the last live streaming. And these are the ones that I have and I really like to have it installed on my machine. So once we have this running the website, we can take a quick view of the source code of this website, check for any let's say hint. Like I was saying, we will check the technologies used on this website. We can see that this website is hosted on IIS. There is some scripts and it's a Windows server. Okay, we know that from the Nmap scan more or less based on the ports. But now with the source code, we can check for JavaScript or custom JavaScript libraries and so on. Any comment that could be in the source code, anything that could lead us to discover is there is a CMS behind the application. It's a custom code application or just a static website, right? So we can see that there is some CSS styles, but we don't see there is this script here, but nothing really actually crazy. Yeah, so looks like more as a static website. We have different parts on this website. We have the about us, blogs. Let's see if blogs works or not. Apparently it doesn't work, because if we click on more info, doesn't work, right? Drop down. Okay, yeah, it works more or less. It has some posts here. We have some recent comments. This is very important. We have some inputs here. We can test, right? Okay. Okay. Let's see if this works or not. Okay. Okay. Doesn't work. Is not allowed. We can again check the source code here. Trying to identify or obviously we can go to blog where is the request we have done. Okay, there is no. Yeah, here it is. We can send it to repeater and simulate again. So it doesn't allow this request actually, so we can keep going with the gathering information here. We have blogs, contact us. We have a contact website. Yeah, so we can also test here. Just to check the workflow of this website and everything. But so far there is actually not that much information here. Something that we can run as well on the background. Okay, we have already the TCP scam working. We have the title here. Yeah, we have more or less pretty basic information around open ports and so on. So we are gonna keep going with the enumeration of the website. Something that is really good when we find a website is once we did the initial recognizement of the website and trying all the functionalities that the website has, is go through the proxy request, trying to identify all the requests we have done to identify what would be the vulnerable point to entry, right? But in the background, meanwhile we are doing this, something that should be done is the directory enumeration or vhost enumeration, also known as a subdomains enumeration, right? So something we can use for that is dir shared, for example, could be a good example of tool that we can use. There is path dir shared, there is a lot of tools. Just use the one that you feel comfortable with it, and yeah, so on. So we are gonna launch dir shared, right? We are gonna leave it on the background. I hope that doesn't make slow this website. We are going through all the information, because something very important when we have a website like this is to take care about all the information that is showing us here. Because sometimes, for example, here, right, we have from customer testimonial, we have some client 1462 blah 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 blah, right? But it's very important because could be possible that the company is leaking some important information related to the company itself, like employees, right? Like this team. This is very important. Okay, there is, if they are using real names, that could be an entry point. And this leads to my next part. So we are doing the gathering information from the website, and we were able to gather some employees. So the next step would be, meanwhile, as well, we are going to our folder for their machine, for the machine we are doing Sauna, and then we are gonna create users.txt. And here we are gonna gather all the machines or all the users that we are or we find during the process of enumerating the website. In this case, it's Fergus, Smith, Sound, Coins, Hugo, Bear, Steven, Kerb, Bowie, Taylor, Sophie, Driver. Okay, so once we have all these users, actually we don't know the pattern of this company or how their standard of creating the users, right? Because every company internally, they have a standard of naming their users, right? So this drives me to the next point. This drives me to the next point, where we are gonna use a tool that there is a lot of tools related to this, but in this case we are going to use the following one. It's a tool that basically is called business username generator, and basically it's a Python script that gets an input of usernames, full names, and then creates possible usernames. In this case, we found, right, a list of employees from this team, right? We have the user.txt. So the next thing we are gonna do is let's clone this tool to create these possible users. Okay, we are here. We are gonna clone the repository. Okay, Python. Let's see. We are gonna make this bigger and move this to the other side. Then you can check it as well, because probably you don't actually see it like really. I will make it bigger. I think now is way better than before. Okay, so basically here we have the how to use this tool. We are going to execute the tool. We are going to provide the user we found. Users, and we are going to specify the output file. Here we are gonna put sauna id.txt, and then if we check sauna, we are gonna have a pretty good list of possible users based on the full names, right? So what would be the next step? We can reach the Active Directory, right? We can reach the Active Directory. We have a list of users. So what would be the next step, like the natural step on this? There is a specific attack called AS rep roasting, and basically we are gonna check for users that they have Kerberos pre-authentication disabled. Those users most of the time are service users, right? And it will allow us to extract the hash and try to brute force it. That would be one of the most easy or known attacks or path attacks used during a Active Directory pen test, right? Get the list of user, try for those that they don't have or they have disabled the Kerberos pre-authentication. And to do that, what we can do, or another thing very important that we can do is, let's say that we have the users, but we don't know really if there is a shared folder, right? That's something very important as well, to check for share folders through SMB. So something that we can use is netexec to check SMB. We are gonna specify the IP here, and then shares. It is interesting because let's say most of the time when we do the scans with Nmap, it should drop or show us the domain here, but somehow doesn't show us the domain actually. Yeah, so we can see here that there is no shared folders. That's something good and bad for us because sometimes the shared folders contains confidential data. Also, we can try with the guest user. Most of the time, the guest user is disabled by default, but who knows? There is some administrators that they need to allow it because of the business necessity, and yeah, could be allowed. So we are gonna try with the guest user. It doesn't work, and so we are gonna jump to the next step, and it is check for the the user that they have disabled Kerberos pre-authentication. So to do that, we are going to use in packet minus get np users. In this case, I don't know why it doesn't show us the domain actually. Let's pre-run it again, because sometimes these hack the box machines, they get really buggy, and it's something that I really hate actually. By the way, the people that is watching, if you know any tool that could be better, or anything that we can learn, feel free to write it, and yeah, I will be happy to test it. So yeah, let's see. Okay, we have another finish scan here. We didn't found nothing like quickly, let's say, doing the discovery of the directories within the website. Let's see if we can get again hopefully the domain. Actually, it's really interesting because most of the time it should show the domain name and also the computer or the NetBIOS name of the server. Quite interesting. Of course, I have my write-up, but I want to show you that it should be there, and we should add the domain and the DC name to our host file. Then we will be able to perform like the next step. I don't know if there is someone following the steps and doing the machine live. If that's the case, you know. Okay, then. Opa. Now here I guess it's better in this side. Okay, 2% to finish. So we have here the command. Actually, we are gonna start. Actually, no, we are gonna do it here. This would be the command. We are gonna specify the IP here. This would be the DC IP that actually would be the IP assigned to the Sauna machine. Now, here we can specify our Sauna. Let's see if we have now the domain. Actually, yeah, this machine is, I really like it. It was one of the first machines I did when I started with Active Directory stuff. I remember that I struggled a lot with this machine. I wasn't familiar at all with any of these techniques. And I remember I was before Discord on the forum of Hack the Box asking people, sharing thoughts, and it was quite a good experience. Uh, but now it's way, I would say, easier. Not, let's say, don't take me wrong, not a lot easy. It's not that easy, but you know, now with Discord you can reach everyone. Everyone is willing to help. But before, like 5 years ago or something like that, it was more like an individual play or something like that. The ones that they were playing as a team, they were lucky, I would say, because it was, at least from my case and point of view, it was very difficult to find someone on my community that was familiar with these platforms or these kind of things. So it was very difficult for me to go through these platforms, machines, and everything, and fight with Stack Overflow, learning new things. And you know, I spent a lot of hours in front of the keyboard trying to get my foothold, and you know, a nightmare. But in the end, when you get the reverse shell or the shell, it's like the most beautiful thing. So yeah, as like I said before, sometimes we need to run twice the nmap scans, because sometimes, I don't know why, hack the box machines, when they start, they don't start full. Or yeah, you know, it's a good advice to run it twice. So yeah, we have now the domain, right? We have it here. uh, domain. And we have this host name as well here, Sauna. So great. Now we can update our etc host. We are gonna move it here. We are gonna use sudo. So, yeah, that happens when I try to go fast. Okay, we are going to copy the IP, and then the server is called Sauna. Actually, we are going to start with the domain ego bank.local and then sauna dot. I will just copy and paste. I don't wanna mistype something. Yeah, then save it. And now we can actually run our in packet get MPU users. So here would be the domain, right? You have the user, we have the DCIP, and so on. So it will try for those users that might have, like I was saying, there is some of them, in this case, F Smith. F Smith would be Fergus Smith. So we found that Fergus Smith doesn't have or it has disabled the Kerberos pre-authentication. That will be or will help us basically to extract the hash, right? Like we can see here. So we are gonna prepare this file. Actually, we are gonna leave the last one. And now the tool known in this world would be Hashcat. Hashcat is a really great tool. It works with CPU and GPU. And in this case, of course, it's a virtual machine. So I will work with the CPU actually. But it's very simple to use. There is a lot of information going on. Just let me know. I can do a live streaming more specific in creation of word lists and so on, or explaining more about brute force and hashcat and those things. So yeah, feel free to write it or let me know in the chat. Yeah, so something very important that we should know is if we check again the hash, it has a specific let's say type of hash, right, at the beginning of the line. So something that we can do, if I should remember correctly, there is a hash identifier that basically help us if we pass this. It doesn't work all the time, but if we copy, let's say, the whole string and we passed it, in this case doesn't work, but if you try with, for example, MD5, SHA 256 or something like that, it will pop up which kind of hash it is. Okay, so, but another thing we can do is basically copy the beginning of the line, go to Google, and Hashcat has their own wiki, right, or information. So what we can do is go here, example hashes, and look for our hash. And then we can identify the hash ID for Hashcat to brute force Kerberos 5. Okay, in this case for ASREP. So once we have the ID, it would be 18,200. We can go to our Hashcat, right? And actually it's already here because when we did the first AD preparation that you can find actually on my YouTube channel, we use the same technique to get the initial foothold. In this case, in this machine is doing some OSINT, like pretty basic OSINT from the website, gathering these users and using a script to create a list of possible standard internal, Active Directory users. So in this case, we are gonna use this. We are gonna specify the ID. We are gonna specify the file that contains the hash, and then the word list that we are gonna use. In this case, pretty basic word list. In this case, the well-known row queue. We can start. So brute force starting, and hopefully we are gonna get the password for this user pretty quick. Okay, there you go. So we were able to detect a user that doesn't have it has disabled the pre-authentication, the Kerberos pre-authentication, and extracting the hash. It didn't it didn't have a proper password, so we were able to break it and have it. Once we have the user, what we can do is different things, right? We can enumerate shared folders because sometimes that user has more rights to see shared folders, or obviously we can try to connect through RDP, WinRM, RPC, or and so on. But the thing is, we are gonna try directly to see if we have remote access or this user is a part of the group remote desktop something. I don't remember correctly, but yeah, something like that. So in this case, we are gonna try eval with RM. Is a well-known tool in the sector. So we are gonna use specify user. It was I think F Smith. Yeah, F Smith. And then the password would be the strokes 23. Yep. Okay, check in if we have remote access. There you go. Okay, we are gonna make dir. Okay, doesn't want to work. Okay, now let's try desktop. All right, guys, we found out the user flag. So we are on the point where we need to start the enumeration for lateral movements or privilege escalation, right? Uh, Basically, what does it mean? There is something, or people misunderstand this concept. Lateral movement means to move laterally, right? So you have a user that maybe allows you to pivot to another server, and maybe once you pivot to that server, you are allowed, or you discover something that allows you to pivot to a user that has more privilege within this active directory, right? So what we are looking for is one of those two options: moving laterally or scaling on writes. In this case, most of the time, what I like to do is go to documents. That is the first directory that you log, and check, and then there is a bunch of directories based on the user folder: desktop, documents, downloads, everything. Go through everything. The OSCP is very tricky and is based on enumeration, and not really crazy enumeration. It's pretty basic enumeration. If something pop-ups to your eye, focus on that thing. Okay, because sometimes you miss basic things because it's a text file, and then you think, okay, this is just a text file, maybe it doesn't contain nothing, or you even don't think about that file, but it's very important. And honestly, I'm still having the same issue. It's time to time I do a hack the box machine, it's marked as easy, and then I miss something that it is very or pretty basic, and I am like, okay, what's going on? And there is something that did happen to us, or to me, a few days ago doing a hack the box machine. I was enumerating bhosts, and I was using a word list that it didn't discover the actual subdomain. And yeah, pretty basic thing. So you need to be focused, and try to enumerate every single folder. And of course, there is something on C. That is very important because sometimes when there is non-common software installed on the machine, could be installed directly on C, right? So you maybe can find something there. Okay, another thing I like to do once I get access to a machine of course, and I know that is Active Directory part, is check how many users are there, like folders actually, more than these kind of things. So there is administrator, FS Smith, and SBC Loan MGR. So we know that there is some user going on. There is a service user on this machine, but probably we don't have rights to go inside. But we are gonna go back to FS Smith to the next step. Whatever. Uh, oh. So once we are inside, we are gonna go to documents, and we are gonna do the next step. The next step would be run SharpHound or any collector to run our BloodHound. So we are going to start our web server. In this case, as you can see, I start my own, let's say, provisional web server with a shortcut. If you want to use it or something, it's on my GitHub repository. You can find all the tools or shortcuts that I use there. So feel free to go there, and yeah. So yeah, now we are going to start BloodHound, and for that I need my nodes, because I'm using Dockers, and actually I don't remember how it was. And that's why, guys, it's very important that you set up and you build a great notes. And it's very important that during this whole process you take notes and screenshots, because that will make you better on the, let's say, the end report, for example. You will make it easier, and you will be able to explain concepts and how you did the exploitation way better than just, and also it's very important that you have all your notes organized. On my case, I use Notion, so you can use Obsidian or whatever tool you feel great with it. So I think it's this one. Not quite sure. Yeah, looks like. Okay, let's give it a shot. Looks like it's running. I'm happy then. So I think it's this one. Yeah, it will take some time until it's running. So next step, we need to run a collector. In this case, I have my toolset here. Offensive security tools is my repository, like I said. Go take a look, feel free to clone it and play around. So I have the folder ID. Here should be SharpHound. Then last time we used the binary, the .exe, but this time we are gonna use PowerShell, right? So we are going to download AD, and then we are gonna copy. No, this is not the download AD. Let's copy the name. Yeah, I need to improve my this shortcut to add maybe auto completion or something like that. Yeah, that would be something for the future. So it gives me automatically the command, and we can copy here this and download the file on our machine, right? So once we run our SharpHound, we should have a collection of information coming from the Active Directory, and that will help us to identify the next steps, for example, right? Okay, we are gonna run it. We are going to bypass the script execution from PowerShell, and then import module sharp.ps1. Okay. Did I write it wrong? There. I think okay, yeah. I need to specify dot dot. Okay, we have the module imported, so we are gonna invoke BloodHound, the collection method, collection method. We are gonna get all the information from Active Directory. I don't know if you can. Yeah, and then we are gonna specify. Yeah, I guess we can just run it like that. Yeah, let's run it like this. And let's see if we can get thingies here. Why it doesn't work? Invoke. Let's try with output directory, and then we specify this. Okay, doesn't work. Let's why it doesn't work? This is pretty interesting. I think it's this. Yeah, looks like. Okay, so we have running our SharpHound. So what we can do meanwhile is use again our evil WinRM connection and start to do manual enumeration here. And that will help us to find more information, right? So we start another WinRM connection, and then here there is something very important. When I did the video for the OSCP recommendation, I was talking about building a checklist, right? There is a million of GitHubs around with a ton of checklists and so on. My recommendation is go through a lot of machines and build your own checklist based on your mistakes. Of course, you can build one based on a public one and then improve it in your way and organize it in your way, right? So something that could be great is to have a checklist for privilege escalation. And that will help you to perform some enumeration that will help you to understand the status of this machine, like ipconfig /all. And then here we are gonna have a pretty good view of the network part of this machine. And also very important, when you are working on a large network, could be that one server or endpoint has more than just one interface, right? So it's very important to do these things. We can, for example, print the list of roads that are stabilized on this machine, for example, to check if there is more networks within the network, or very important things. System info to verify we don't have access to do this. We can check with who am I, which is not our user, net user, to verify the users or the local users on this machine. We can see that there is this service account. This is very important. Maybe this would be the next step for the lateral movement. You know, let's say we can check for local groups, and then, for example, something that I like to do is check for the administrators to see if there is any let's check local groups, but also I like yeah, that local group, and then check for administrators, and then we can see if there is a weird member within this group. Also, it's very important who am I priv to check the privilege that we have, because sometimes if it is a service account, we have the SA privilege impersonation or something like that is very easy to exploit and then get a system on that machine and so on. There is a ton of techniques to perform this, let's say, manual enumeration. Something that I like to do as well is cmd key.list. We are gonna list all the storage or saved credentials. We can check for autologon credentials. That would be that we will need to check the following registry key, right? Let's verify if we can dump something from here. Bam, we found something. We found that the password actually for the service account that we were encountering through the process of enumerating, right? So we found that SBC loan manager has this password. This is very important. Manual enumeration always, and of course, when you don't find something doing the manual enumeration, it's very important also to use the automatic tools to perform enumeration, like WinPs and so on. In this case, we were able basically to enumerate the machine manually, and we found that there is a stored or saved autologon credentials. And yeah, so something that we should do right now is save those credentials. So we are going here, we are gonna change terminal, we are going here, users.txt, well, maybe nano final users.txt, and then we are gonna save fsmith, and we are gonna save sbc. Also, we are gonna create passwords.txt, very important. We are gonna copy the password that we found. This would be one, and this would be the older one. So we copy, we paste, and we save. Okay, actually, there is another step. We found one user, new credentials, but what about our BloodHound? Because we don't know nothing about Active Directory, this Active Directory. So now our, let's say, objective would be get this file, get the result of the discovery, and yeah, why didn't work. That's actually a pretty good. Oh, no. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good. Okay. Why it didn't work. Well, we can check here if we are generating something. We are not generating nothing. Okay, so next step, we are not generating the files with BloodHound. So what would be the next step? Would be checking with the user we found. Let's check if we can actually log with evalwin rm. We are gonna specify this. This would be the user. No, this is not there. Where is the IP? Here it is. So we can copy the IP. We are gonna copy the user, right? And password. This is the password. Simple quotes. I think something is going on with this. I think I'm missing space or something. Pretty strange. So enter. Let's see if we have rights to access remotely. Let's go. Oh, look! We got the file with the F Smith user. So probably I was missing this, the directory, the output directory. I think I'm missing something here. Evil RM. Now? Yeah, I think I was missing something. I don't know why here is like red and here is like normal. Yeah, so we are gonna download this. We are going to use this terminal and we are going to SMB server. Actually, no, we are gonna change this, hack the box, machines, and then we are going to Sauna. And here, actually, I think we can just download. Then I don't need to set up the SMB server and so on. I think should be fine if I do this. Cool, nice. Next thing would be where I left this, hack the box machines. I hope it is here. Oh yeah, wonderful. Sometimes I don't remember where I left the, the things. SVC, monkey, actually, yeah, well, we are gonna check for with BloodHound. Let's load this. Should work the credentials. By the way, even if I save the password on my browser, it's a random password that I don't use anywhere. So please don't raise your hand. Profile, yeah, where it was, administration. Okay, here, upload files. Then we can go actually here, open the folder where we have our SharpHound dump. We can actually, we're gonna yeah, sorry, don't kill me of using the UI. Extract it, then we can just drag and drop. Wait, can upload. Perfect. Ingesting, and hopefully this will work, because sometimes the version that you are using from the collector and then your BloodHound doesn't match, and then everything gets crazy. So yeah, let's try to know why WinRM doesn't work with the actual .u. Then done. Pretty strange, actually. I think I will try without simple quotes. Let's see if it works. Maybe evil WinRM already, passes the password within quotes, even if it has this exclamation. So yeah, let's see if we have access with this user. By the way, we should have. But yeah, somehow it's trolling me or something. Okay, complete. We have a complete. We can start to explore. We are gonna start with F. Smith. Like I said before in another live streaming, I like to mark as owned the user that I was able to compromise. SBC, I think since we have the password of the user, we can own the user. But this is pretty interesting. Okay. I mean, I think maybe we are not using the correct. So here is it's specified SBC loan manager, but what it says here. So here in the domain on Active Directory says that the user account is SBC loan MGR. So let's change this loan MBR. So this is why it's very important to do then manual enumeration and correlate information. Like we can check here with net user, we have also the same output, SBC loan MGR. Okay, and successfully with the user SBC loan MGR, we were able to log in. And I don't know, maybe there was before a user called SBC loan manager, but now they changed the user, they deleted the user. Who knows? The thing is, his password was stored on the registry for auto logon, and we were able to extract it manually. So, okay, now we have F. Smith. Something that you should do every time you open BloodHound is check the object. Check the object for which kind of groups the user has or is member of. In this case, part of the user group, remote management users, domain users. These are usual and normal ones. Also, if it has local admin, execution privileges, or privilege, outbound object control. This is very important because sometimes some objects on the domain have control over another object, and how we can translate that. For example, an administrator has control over all the users' objects on the domain into the domain, right? So, for example, could happen that a standard user has a specific or special control over another group or a unit. So we should be always checking this part. Oh, my mistake, guys. I just checked the OBS and I was looking that I was basically in the middle. So basically what I was checking or I was saying is very important to check the members of so this user, which groups he has, or if he is local admin, or he has execution privilege or outbound object control. This is very important, like I was saying in this line here, because he could be able to control another object on this domain, right? And we will be able to perform lateral movement, or maybe even better, privilege escalation. So another thing we can use is the pathfinding or cipher. That would be the advanced query language for BloodHound, but in this case it's not necessary, it's just a easy machine. So I would say it's enough with F. Smith. So if we specify here ego bank local, the domain, we can actually try to run this. Okay, so we don't have a way, let's say, to compromise from msmith to the domain. But what about the other user? SBC Loan MGR. Okay. SBC. I don't know why it doesn't work. Doesn't show me nothing. Okay, we can just search for this user and check for, like I was saying, member of execution object control. We have something here, guys. We have something here, and probably would be our way to perform privilege escalation and get the administrator hash and be able to log as administrator on this domain. So there is no special group that this user is member of, but like I was saying, there is an outbound control object. So there is special rights that this service user has over the domain, right? In this case, is get change all and get change. Okay, so if we click here, BloodHound will help us to understand what it does or what this means. Okay, so the user SBC blah 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 has DS replication get change all permission on the domain da 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 da. Individually, this edge does not grant the ability to perform an attack. However, whatever thing this pronunciation is, it's very difficult for me. Sorry, guys. With DS replication get changes, a principal may perform a DC sync attack. So in this case, he's specifying this, let's say, rights permission that together with DS replication blah, 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 all can allow us to perform DS sync. What does it mean? We will be able to dump the whole NTDS database from the domain and then get all the hashes for all the users, right? And in this case, we comply with the situation. So another thing that BloodHound provides us is how to abuse from different systems, like in this case Windows or Linux, and also the OPSEC, very important, basically OPSEC. If you are more into red teaming, it's very important to know what would be the OPSEC of every single technique that you are applying during your engagement, right? Because we don't want to be detected by the SOC team or so on, right? In this case, I'm gonna use the Linux part. So since we can basically use secret dumps within Packet, secret dump, we are gonna use DC NTL then go. How was this thing? Where is the domain? Where is the here? Here is the domain. Too complex domain, to be honest. Then we can specify, yeah, we can specify the user and then add and the IP of the server. Then, oh, again, it happened. I will change the view so we can see it here. This is the the windows I'm using for the in-package secret dump. I want to dump the all the hashes and so on. So yeah, so now we are gonna specify the password, and slowly we are gonna dump the NTDS secrets, and bam, we got access to all the hashes on this domain. And then this follows to the next technique. We can do two things. We can try to brute force the hashes to try to gather passwords, or perform pass the hash. What does it mean? We are gonna grab the NTLM hash and we are gonna pass it to the server, so we don't need to know the password of that user. In this case, the password of that user would be the administrator user. I will move the windows here, the window here. Sorry, now. So this is the Windows right now. Okay, how I get that comment from this guy? Yeah, actually, I don't know how to report it or whatever. Okay, cool. Now should be deleted. Okay, cool. So, like I was saying, I was, yeah, past the hash. We know the hash of the user, in this case, the administrator user. So what we can do is perform pass the hash with eval winrm. So we are gonna use winrm. Again, yeah, I'm too bad. I don't want to remember this IP. You administrator, and if I remember correctly, it should be H. I don't know if on capital or not. Yeah, I don't remember, but we are gonna know it soon. Yeah, it's -H minus. We hit enter, and bam, we got administrator on this machine. Let's go if we have the view of root txt, and then we will know that we have access to, you know, bam, we got the root. So we got access to the root machine. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this machine as much as I did in the past. Let's make a really quick summary. We got the machine, we got the IP, we did that nmap scan, directory discovery. There was a website, some users, some employees names there. We decided to use a script, a Python script, to generate possible username patterns and so on. Since we had access to the Active Directory, we were able basically to check for users that they don't have, they have disabled the Kerberos pre-authentication performing ASREP roasting attack, and then extracting the hash for the user fsmith. We used hashcat to brute force the hash. We were able to get access through winrm to the machine. We did enumeration, pretty basic enumeration, manual enumeration through the machine. We found out that there was a autologon credential saved on the registry, and we were able to extract the plain text password and the user. Also, we extracted and we did enumeration with BloodHound and using the collector SharpHound on the version of PowerShell, using the PowerShell version, and we were able to load the information on BloodHound, and we found that the user SBC loan MGR was, or he had a really specific, yeah, let me recap this, very specific outbound or privileged outbound object control over the domain. And then the combination of those rights, we were able basically to perform the DC sync and then extract all the hashes for all the users. And the end of extracting these hashes would yeah, basically we were able to perform pass the hash and then have access to the server as domain administrators, and yeah, get access to the whole domain. So guys, thank you for watching, being here with me 1 hour and almost 20 minutes. If you join the machine or the live streaming late, it's okay. I will upload this video to YouTube. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I lost my webcam. I, you know, um, yeah, I don't know why. My actually webcam died. So maybe you cannot see me, but it's totally fine. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce Stralemauscher. I hope I say the name correctly. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope next time I have something better, and I'll see you next Wednesday on same time, same hour. And last would be I will be next month hosting a roundtable about cybersecurity. I will have two guests, really good friends, and we are gonna be talking about really good topics that they are related to cybersecurity, more from the human part, burnout, how to start in cybersecurity, advice, recommendations, tools, and so on. So yeah, keep an eye on LinkedIn, Twitter, or whatever social media you are using on daily basis. And yeah, guys, see you, and I will try to have my coffee, my evening coffee. I hope you enjoy everything, have fun, and touch some grass. I will try to go and do something outside because I'm already I spent too much time already here in front of my PC. So it's time to go out. See you guys. Bye bye. I hope you have a lovely evening and day.